Memorial Day was this past Monday.
Yes.
Most people, chill. They're off work,
Yeah.
barbecue or cookout, whatever, different terms people use. But I woke up this Memorial Day and had a ginormous tree across my driveway.
Oh, right.
And spent from about 8:30 in the morning by the time I got out there to, I don't even know, it was like mid-afternoon or something, cutting up tree branches and logs and whatnot. And what I found out is my 16-inch chainsaw just isn't big enough.
For the tree?
Yeah.
Or just in general?
For that kind of workload. Hey, welcome back to Screen Time. I'm your host, Josh. So, Jered.
Yes.
The question is, would you leave this world if you could start over someplace else?
I don't know. Good question.
Well, today in Dark Matter episode 4, one of our characters presents that as a question.
Yes.
So we will talk about that and cover that as our main topic. But before we get into that, Jered, my co-host here, what have you been watching?
I got a new record for amount of things.
Oh no. It's high or low?
It's one. I know. When I said that, I figured you would be like, oh, geez, we're going to be here all night. Nope. Got one thing.
Wow. Okay.
The Fall Guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. What did you think?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so fun. That movie is, it's just crazy what they do with all the stunts. Obviously, like that's the big thing with the movie. Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt have such great chemistry in it too. Trying to think what else I liked about it. I mean, some of the plot was kind of just like silly, but it was kind of cool how they tied it into the actual movie they were filming. No spoilers. It's not. I mean, what are you going to spoil?
Movie inside of a movie.
Yeah. What are you going to spoil in this movie anyway, though?
Yeah.
It's not really anything.
What did you think of? I mean, there's the one twist to kind of at the end, like
right. There is a twist. Yeah.
What do you think of that opening one or like long take of him walking and then up there? And it had to be him unless they did a major face, unless they did a face replacement the whole way through that long one take.
Oh, because you couldn't do it at the end.
You wouldn't
change his face.
Because the person, because you don't change the person. So he's walking all that time, and then he falls. Now it cuts before you see him.
Yeah, he probably did it then.
Yeah.
I mean, because did you watch, so at the very end over the credits, they're showing behind the scenes.
Yes.
He did a lot.
He did some stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you saw, there were times where it wasn't him.
Yeah.
But he did a lot of the stunts in the movie, so I imagine he did it.
But I mean, dude, the
opening. I remember you talking about it before.
That's a serious, like, drop and just off the back and just like to do that with confidence and dude, he's got to be one of I think probably one of my favorite male actors of
of right now. He's pretty high up there.
I mean, like, it's just like so like he has such a like that he's like funny and charisma and like all those things, which is like not easy to have, and do action, right? But then he can also be and then like the Barbie movie was hilarious too. But
that was I mean, he was still probably the best part of that movie. Yeah, but I know you
didn't like the movie that much,
but you're right.
But like
with
him in that movie, he's hilarious. And then to see him do like straight up dramatic stuff and
he's incredible in Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. So a good example of that. So I think he's definitely quote unquote a movie star, and so
he is for sure. Like
sense.
He's one of those people that even if it was just him and no one else in the movie, people would go see it, which is like that's the kind of thing now you can ask and be like.
There used to be a lot more people,
right? Not as many anymore.
There's not as many.
But last week I was talking about challengers, and Zendaya is definitely one of those people now that people will go. She's
Yeah, I
one of
agree,
the few
I agree,
now
I
that
agree.
people will just go see whatever. Sydney Sweeney's the same way, right?
Yeah, probably.
Because she had 2 movies recently, and a lot
And
of people
that's
showed up for them. So
Um,
yeah, but I'm trying to think. There was the one shot in the beginning is sick. Also, it was kind of cool, like seeing. I know you're saying obviously it's very realistic of how like a film set, and even after that, when like he goes and first sees Emily Blunt again when she's first filming, and they're doing like that huge action scene on the beach, uh, and just seeing how everything's done is so cool. Also, I just not that I know everything yet, but now that I've been on film sets more now, I understood a little bit more of it now, which was cool.
Even some of the lingo they use, like you're like, oh yeah, I know what this is. Yeah.
Yep. I also liked.
Is that? I think that's where they broke the world record of amount of like flips a vehicle had.
I wanted to ask you that because you said they did break a Guinness World Record. What was it? Was it for that?
I
that
think
flip?
I think it's what it was. I think it was it was like how many times a vehicle flipped over.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like how they kept doing. Actually, it kind of stopped at the end, which I was hoping they would continue through the whole movie. Was him and that other guy mainly going back and forth, like saying very serious things to each other, but it actually was a quote
from a
movie, and they were like, "Oh, that's Fast and Furious," you know.
Yeah.
I thought that was great how they did that.
Yep.
My favorite one was Last of the Mohicans. They said, just because I love that movie.
Deep cut.
Yeah. Yeah. But what was it? That one was towards the end. They did do that one. Yeah, he said something like "stay alive." I forget the quote. It's
how love that like they make fun of Tom Cruise so much in this film.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that immediately, even though they, like you said, they say the name Tom Cruise once.
Yeah. And they referring to him as someone else,
right?
Other than our lead guy that's named Tom.
Right, he's clearly Tom Cruise, though. Yeah, Tom Ryder. Yeah, yeah.
He's so mad when he's like, "I do my own stunts."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked all that, and then I think you were also mentioning about like the face replacement and how they do that now, which was interesting seeing that because I guess it really is how they do it now.
Yeah, I mean.
The scary thing is, though, is like, which I'm not spoiling, but it has to do with the plot with that, involving that is like, that's can happen now. And a lot of people will believe it, which is scary. Yep. And it's just going to get better. So I already know that with, we talked about recently with audio, with like voices already have gotten so good that you could just basically make anyone say anything and it sounds like them. So now we're going to have it with just put your face on someone and make them do whatever. It's crazy. But yeah, anyway, it was it was great. I mean, I like when stuff comes out pretty quickly on VOD, just because if I can't get to the theaters, I can see it quicker. But at the same time, if it's like a good movie,
I wonder I feel like why. I wish this would have gotten done better in the theater because it was like the perfect film for.
It is, yeah.
And I'm not sure why. I mean, really, honestly, the box office since Dune has not been good.
No. And is that why? Because I think we talked about this last week because I was asking about it with Challengers because that came out on VOD pretty quick too. But that did fairly well, I want to say, in theaters.
I don't know if it did fairly well. I don't know. I just know. I mean, it was in theaters a little bit longer, right? Than Fall Guy.
Think so. Yeah.
But I just know that they've been talking about like really nothing's been doing well.
No.
So.
Yeah, probably nothing till Deadpool. You know that's gonna.
I don't know. We got Inside Out 2 before that.
Oh right.
And sometimes the kids stuff can.
Yeah, you were talking about that. That could either like go either way though. It'd be I feel like it's never in between. It's either like a flop.
What was the one? Was it last summer? 2 summers ago? The Elemental didn't do the best like opening weekend or two, but then it's stayed in the theaters and made money like the rest of the summer.
Oh.
And ended up actually really doing well. Okay. It was like unusual, like, but then like kid stuff can do that because like then people just keep coming to see it and then.
But like a movie like that's technically a kid's movie that I feel like probably isn't doing well is If. that you were talking about last week.
Yeah, I don't know. That was
think
that was good, and yeah. And then I mean the
I
Garfield
want to
movie
see
is
it.
out,
Oh, I don't know about that.
and then there was like what Kung Fu Panda 5,000 or whatever it is that came out recently, and
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, that's my one.
All
So,
right, one and done. One and
yeah.
done. All right, so I've got a couple things.
Okay.
First, started the Bridgerton season 3.
Right. Oh yeah, that was last
that
week.
It came out I think 2 weeks ago. We just didn't watch it till.
Oh wow, it was already 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I think it. Yeah.
Don't you hate that they're doing like half the season and then half the season later?
I mean, it's
so weird.
It's so obvious that it's like they realize, oh, we can't just drop everything at once, because then people will subscribe for 1 month and leave. But yet they won't admit that they were wrong about the binge model.
I know, yeah.
Because it's Netflix and their whole thing, where it's like, no, just release. Again, I think what people are finding is there's some good in betweens where you like you release 1 or 2, or 2 or the 3 episodes on launch, especially if it's a new series, so people have enough to really bite in, and then you do week to week after. Or
I think that's the perfect way.
Like I think the other one, I think it works not bad. Like they do with Hacks, where it's like 2 a week.
2 a week, yeah.
And just do 2 a week, and then I think that works well too. Where it's like gives you a little bit more, and then of course they're coming out a little faster. So if someone waits a few weeks to then watch them, then it's like, oh, I have like 6 to binge, So I think that kind of isn't a bad. I mean, depending on I think it works well with that kind of show. Like I wouldn't want to do that with like a Game of Thrones or something.
No, a half an hour comedy though, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, it started out all right. I mean, we honestly, do we even watch the second? I think we only watched 1 episode.
Okay.
There's something, and I have to go back. It was interesting to me. I need to go back and look, because I haven't gone back to but I feel like I was like, things looked maybe a little less high quality, so to speak. I was just
in the new season.
Yeah, I feel like, are they cutting back on the budget maybe on like some of the cost? I don't know. Like it wasn't like it was terrible, but it was just like I was like, I thought I remember this feeling a little bit higher end, but maybe I'm just compared to some other stuff now because everything, I don't know. But yeah.
Didn't you say you met someone that was involved with Bridgerton recently?
Yeah. So, and
or if you don't want to share, I don't know if you can.
It was just one of the people that scored it.
Oh, it was one of the ones that
he
scored
lives
it. Nice.
in the DC area, and was at a film thing I was at like a few months back.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, if it's Bridgerton. I mean,
it's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have watched so that's Netflix Bridgerton.
Mm-hmm.
Also on Netflix, I watched the first 2 episodes of Tires.
Yeah, I saw this. I didn't really watch it yet.
Yeah. It's not that good. I probably won't watch it anymore. It just wasn't that funny. And like, I don't know. Like I was almost watching. I'm like, I was like, I could write something funnier than this.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, I'm like, where did they get the funding for this? But anyway, I just wanted to say that because
is it like pretty low budget anyway?
Yes, like it looks like it. Yeah,
because it's just that comedian, right?
Yeah,
whatever his name is, I forget his name.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? There's no one else in it.
I don't think so. Then watched a movie on Hulu called Prom Dates.
Haven't heard of this.
Yeah, it came out a few weeks ago, but just like kind of got around to. We wanted to watch some kind of comedy, like kind of like that, and it was actually not bad. Like for that kind of like high school coming of age, like kind of. It reminded me a little bit of Booksmart. Did you watch Booksmart?
Oh yeah,
I don't think it's quite as smart and clever as Booksmart, because Booksmart is really good.
It is.
But it was in that same vein, and it was good, and there was some funny stuff in there. So not too bad. So it's a movie on Hulu. And then last but not least, little Vision Pro update. When these happen, I like to.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this before, but just for the listening watchers or whatever, the audio watchers, the audio viewers,
the visual listeners.
Visual listeners.
There you go.
Why can't I messed it up so good one time. Anyway, for those people, the Apple produces their own content that's 8K, 180 degree, 3D, like layered, 3D stereoscopic 3D is the term. Content that it initially really hasn't been much new since they dropped, since the Vision Pro came out back in late January. So they released a new extreme one the first the category is adventure. The first adventure was a tightrope walker, like somewhere up in I think it was Norway or something, really high, and they were like going to go this cliff, and pretty intense. So this is episode 2 of Adventure, and it's a group of 3 guys doing parkour in Paris.
Sick.
It's pretty cool. I would say I think so. It is cool to watch, but some of the things that they jump and they kind of, you're like talking about it and they're hyping it up, and then you're like, oh, but I think it's because we're so used to watching stuff in film where they would just do it with wires and then they take the wires out, and because you're like, oh, I mean, it is high, but it's not like that high, but like it's because they're doing it for real with no safety. So, but anyway, it's cool, but also just cool, again, until you've experienced it, it's hard to describe how realistically you feel like you're there in the spot where you're at, where they are. And so they have camera. We're on the top building, or on the top of buildings over all across, the city of Paris. And so at different points, they're at different places. So
that's how they do it.
Some of those perspectives of just where you're at when they're doing their things. It's just cool, to be up there with it. And
how would they do it for the tightrope then? Where would you put a camera?
I think they were using on a drone and just following.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I think, or they even the cable cameras where they run another cable across, because she has a cable. So, but along with this update, they also dropped a new sizzle reel trailer. I think, did you watch that when you tested out the Vision Pro the first time, where it's just just a bunch of cuts of different things that Apple created?
Yeah, I think so. But you're saying they did a new one. They
updated, okay. And the old one went away. I think it's not even there anymore. This is a new one, and it's it's got some cool stuff, and a lot of live sports stuff in there.
Okay.
And dude, it's insane. When you're courtside and they're playing basketball or football or even soccer, there's all that stuff mixed in there, and then there's some more underwater stuff. So nice. I think I'm hoping that this means that this update means oh yeah, we're ready to start releasing some content. I don't know how often, once a month and drop a new one or whatever, but
so you know what I'd want the most, and I know, which I think was the coolest one I saw so far, was the Alicia Keys thing in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
But I want them to do at a concert.
Yes.
But have the sound be better than if you were front row and right up against the speaker.
Right. Because really up there, the sound's not that good.
Right. But so have that all mixed well, but still you be right up there. Yeah. Right? That would be awesome. I'm sure they will eventually. That's what I want.
Yeah. I really would love to figure out the workflow to create that content and be able to create, but then it's even how to distribute it. It's not really, there's no real good way. But anyway,
so get involved with Apple, have them actually hire you for it, and then I mean, they're going to want to keep doing more of it anyway.
So I'll probably talk about this next week.
Okay.
But between now and then, Disney Plus is dropping the What If episode that is completely written, that says it's interactive.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, and especially almost an hour long.
So how is it It's interactive VR.
Mm-hmm.
The
So
episode.
it's like you're watching it, but then remember when I talked about the Gucci dog.
Yeah.
There's
Okay,
like
it's
points
like
in where
that.
like you can do stuff and choose things or kind of I don't know. I don't know. It's not out yet,
Okay.
so but I'm sure I'll check it out in between now and next week. I know it comes out. I think it comes out tomorrow. I think it or yeah, it's like 30th or 31st of this month. So like
Okay. Every time I look at so much where I'm like, I go to the store and look at the Apple Vision Pro. And I'm like, that's $3,500.
I don't know.
But man, I want to be able to watch stuff like how you do, even if it's like not crazy high quality, it's like still just watching it in that way
like,
where you said it feels more like a theater still.
right. I mean, for example, like, and this will be a good segue to Dark Matter.
Did you watch
episode
it in
4? I watched it
awesome.
in Vision. It's not. I mean, yeah, it's 4K.
Right.
It but it's not. It's not 3D. It's not even a flat image or whatever how you would say.
You know what though? I imagine though that all the Apple shows. Well, I don't know if they specifically do anything to it, but I imagine all the Apple shows look better on the Pro than like if you watch something on Disney or.
Well, I mean, yes, but only because I know they have some of the highest bit rate.
That's true.
That they stream their
and Netflix
content.
is still the worst with bit rate.
And so that's going to allow it to be a little bit crisper, a little bit more detail. So.
Nice and crisp. Yep.
Yeah. So
is there any? Is there any other? Because I'm wondering now. Because I know, just like any of the other app stores, they just keep adding stuff to it.
Mm-hmm.
Is pretty much all the streaming stuff now you can do on the Vision Pro?
No. So
which ones are not on there yet?
So still? Netflix still does not have an app at all.
So you got obviously Apple. You got Hulu. Disney.
Well, so the Hulu app is only the iPad app.
Oh.
And Amazon is only the iPad app.
Oh.
Disney Plus app, which has the Hulu content,
right? That one's up.
Up there. And so that's where I'd watch Shogun. A lot of times I'd watch it through Disney Plus app because it's.
What about HBO?
HBO has a native app.
Nice.
I have not because I don't actually pay for Paramount Plus or Peacock, so I'm not sure. So
yeah.
But the one that it still surprised me is Plex still doesn't have a native app. Yeah, I have to use the iPad app. I have to use the iPad app for that
because they update their app a lot.
I know, and
like they're on it with all kinds of new stuff. That's weird.
Again, I'm surprised. Now, like Netflix, you can watch it in a browser because even if there's no app.
Weird though, also because everyone has Netflix. Weird they didn't.
Yeah, you can play Netflix on your watch, but you can't.
Right, but not on the Vision Pro. Yeah, that's weird. Okay.
All right. So Dark Matter, episode 4, The Corridor.
Mm-hmm.
Jason and Amanda fight to stay alive in the dangerous corridor. Jason, too, makes some life changes and visits an old friend.
Sure does.
Yeah, he does. So, what's your overall thoughts on this episode?
I think we were right with the act thing. This definitely feels like the start of Act 2, and it's I think it's what we hope for, like where it's definitely getting better and more
sci-fi.
Yeah, and more what we wanted. Yeah. And not just all this kind of setup and
family drama.
Yeah, and some like kind of unnecessary scenes are just like, all right, let's get this going. I continue to be like, that's the coolest part is not only the actual sci-fi elements, but all the psychological stuff that they talk about and like how it works. What was the word we were using last week? That had to do with what you take. Decoherence.
Yes.
All that stuff's very cool. I have some notes about that because we get a little bit further into that in this episode. So, but yeah, it's like, it's hard because you want to tell people with certain shows, it's like, oh, just stick to it. It's like some people just don't want to do that.
Right.
You know?
And it's interesting because like, I would say I'm okay. You know,
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it and I'm digging it, and but it's like not quite to the level close, but not quite to the level where I'd be like, what we just recommend it to everyone.
I agree.
You know, it's like right there.
It's almost there.
It's
Yeah.
so close, but then it's not quite. And so it's very enjoyable. But
Do you think this is the best though it's been?
and that's what I think each episode gets better.
It does, yeah.
So I think because I think it's leaning more into like, again, the sci-fi-ness of everything, and kind of in, you know, exploring ideas more in that realm than just, oh, you know, there's another guy that looks like me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So but no, I enjoyed this episode, and again, like I think this week and last week I was tempted to, you know, the night before to start the next one because it drops like at 9:00. You know, even though
we're kind of like a week behind on it.
Yeah, almost, because it drops like today is the new episode, and we're recording.
Yeah, I haven't watched the new one yet.
I haven't either, but like the last night, and I'm like before bed, and I'm like, ooh, I could, and I was like, nah, I don't want to like cross over and like get confused with which episode. And the same thing like kind of happened last week. I was like, ooh. But
all right. Is it? Yeah. Is it normally 9 now for Apple stuff?
I think so. Like I feel like after 9, it
around
shows
9
up.
is when there's okay.
Yeah, for at least East Coast time.
For it's like Tuesday at 9 and then Thursday at 9. Yeah, those are the two times. Yeah,
because it's long. They really don't.
Technically
They're
Wednesday
supposed to drop Wednesday.
Yeah.
But whatever. I don't know if that's technically midnight somewhere else. Like
is it midnight in Cupertino? Is that why?
No, because they would be
they'll be
only less.
3.
They'd be 3 hours less.
3 or why do they do that then? I wonder.
They'd be at 6 p.m. No, it'd be the other way, like going towards Europe somewhere. But I don't know. All right, so so I think this is the best one so far.
Yeah.
So what notes do you got on this episode?
I only have 3 notes.
Yeah, I mean I don't have a lot either, but
I'll start with I think the beginning especially. I thought it was a really, really sick shot of the first world they go into, because it reminded me of the Las Vegas desert in Blade Runner 2049 a little bit. Yeah, and then also just cool seeing everything kind of collapsing once they're out there a little bit, the buildings. But then later, obviously, we get some other worlds too, and that's the biggest thing is that I'm really hoping they don't skimp on that. Like we saw a decent amount this episode, which was great, but I hope that they'll continue to see. You'll be able to see a lot of these. Like they'll open a lot of these doors, and instead of just seeing them open the door and not seeing anything after that, actually see all these different worlds.
So I don't know. It was neat to see the different multiverses like kind of teased, and right now you're just opening doors and seeing like New York City landscape, whatever. And that's cool, but like you said, I think, and of course, spoilers. I assume you know that already, but just gonna say like, but then the revelation they figure out in this episode of like that they can kind of control.
Yeah, that was the coolest thing,
and I think that's cool. But then it's like, I hope that in the next episode or two they really explore that, right? Which means like, kind of going into like where it's more subtle differences or possibilities, right, than what they're used to in their current situation. They touched on that at the end, because when she kind of, and which is why they figured out how it worked, right? Like it was like she said something about, well, she say like talked about like, well, if we were only been a little bit behind, we wouldn't have made it. We could have been we would have been us dead back there or something. And then they go through the door, and it's like they watch that happen.
Yep.
They watch them be a little bit behind.
But then the one guy actually kind of sees him, and then it's like all that with any like time travel stuff. It's like, how much does that mess it up? Even just him seeing, I think that's really cool. That was one of my other notes, is how it's specifically. It's not even like just what you say, but it's like specifically your emotions and how you're feeling is what affects.
Right.
Like, I guess right before you open the door, right? Because that's kind of how they did it, where it's like,
because the one guy,
because the Jason 2 with who he brings,
he hasn't cleared
his mind first. But then he doesn't tell him to think about anything specifically, just clear his mind, right? Or does he?
Right. No, yeah, he's deep breath and focus on the breath, and
that's it.
That's it. And then they went to
okay.
But that same guy, the first version of him, what's his name? I can't remember.
I don't remember. Just know he's got a lot of money. He talks about. Well, I mean, obviously,
I
where
think
he
it's
goes.
Funny as like he's got like the frosted tips.
Yeah.
Like version 2 of him has frosted tips, whereas and so like you can know. I mean, just little things they do to make sure it's very visually, just like with Jennifer Connelly, like the hair.
The hair. Well, so and then with our main guy, it's just like he still has like the cuts on his face. That's how you know with him. Yeah.
But that guy, dude, like when they cut back to him and he's like limping and bleeding, and because he's by himself and he hasn't figured out.
Oh, right.
And he's like
at the very end.
Yeah. And he was like, he's been going door to door, and of course his, he's pretty messed up in the head from what we've seen. Obviously, he's like killing people to keep like the secret, and hiding bodies and stuff from. So like he knows these worlds he's going to. We don't get to see him, but like he's really messed up, and he's trying to find his way. So I don't know it'll be interesting to see. The one thing they haven't really touched on, if it's possible or not, is can they end up running into each other in the corridor?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Like, is it each corridor a different instance of the corridor, or is there just one true corridor?
No, I think the first thing you said makes more sense, because I mean, it's already infinite. So how are you going to run into each other?
I know. I think you're right too. Yeah. It was just one of those things. I'm like, well, they could play with it and maybe explain it some way that I'm not thinking about, but like, because then it's also your version of the different possibilities versus even the other, because it's different people with you. And so like, I kind of agree that it'd make more sense in the logic of the world that each corridor is a different corridor. Like it's infinite, but
it's basically like when you play a game that's online and you start it's like a new instance of the game. Essentially the same thing. Corridor, it's always like a new instance, I guess, every time you go back into it. Yeah.
But they are, at least this seems like from Jason 2, they're able to go back to the
previous worlds.
Go back to the right branch of the.
Right.
He kind of alluded to, like we don't because we didn't see it.
No.
We don't see where they went, but he kind of like acted like he could control where they were going to go, and it's like
they were going to like one he'd been to before.
Or something. But I guess we'll see in the next episode with that. But
this leads me into my final note, which has to do with the corridor. Is Amanda in this episode is so dumb.
I have the same note.
Okay, good.
I have the same note. As soon like
it's so frustrating what she does.
It's so out of character for her.
Yes.
Up until that point, she seemed like she's positioned as the person who's in control and
very
logical,
smart
and logical, and like grounded in like her decisions. And then all of a sudden she sees herself get shot and then she like freaks out and runs and then just running, and you're like, what do you and they kind of they explain it a little bit later, but it's still, I'm like, no, like you wouldn't, I don't care what you saw.
Yeah, because literally he just explains her when they're in the corridor. He's like, yeah, this is endless, this hallway. And then right afterwards, she just gets like mad and just starts walking.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I'm going to find.
And then she just ends up, and then she gets upset and then walks out of one. That's the one with the snow.
And that's the other thing that's so dumb. Yeah. And it's literally a massive snowstorm. It's so cold. She knows she's going to, which she does, start freezing. But like, she doesn't care. She just keeps walking. Like, where are you going to go? Where do you think you're going to do? Yeah, you're right. It's not her character at all.
Yeah. So that bothered me. I was like, why? Because everything else is like cool and again, and there's again, as we kind of talked to, like that's the little stuff that's like just missing enough to be like to really highly recommend it. Like it's still good, still enjoying it, and it's still keeping me. It's exploring things different enough in in the story that I'm like, oh, let's.
Yeah, I would say a perfect comparison is comparing this to Severance, because Severance has that sci-fi elements too.
Yep.
But it's like they would never do something like that. That
Right.
show, it's like one of the smartest shows ever.
Because the execution is at a higher level. But
it's such a high level, one of the best. And never, now we'll see with season 2, but I can't imagine it's going to be bad. All those characters always behave exactly how you think they would. Now they don't stay the same; they evolve. You want them to evolve and grow and change, but nothing is ever weird.
And they have the 2 versions of them,
exactly,
the innie and the outie,
right? And it still all makes sense.
Yep.
It's not anything out of character. Yeah,
man, yeah.
I know. I can't wait. I kept checking the Reddit because every time I Google it, I don't see any new info. But then I'll look at the official Reddit, which obviously is mostly just theories, but then some people are talking about.
It's supposed to come out before the end of the year.
Yeah, and they're kind of lining up with 'cause I think Ben Stiller even said some stuff recently, kind of updating a little bit. Because I guess he's still directing, probably not all of it, but he directs some of it.
I don't know if he directed all the episodes in season 1 either.
It's kind of but he's overseeing it all, and he directed at least a few, right? So.
I think he did.
Also, I really hope, which I think he kind of gave a hint towards, that he might actually finally show up in the show, because I've been wanting him to. I'm like, why don't you? You're a great actor. Just
that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Anyway, but yeah, I hope it comes out by the end of the year. Whenever it is,
go on an anger rant.
Huh?
He can go on.
Oh, that'd be so good.
I just always think of always picture the him in the Friends episodes where he's
yes.
And he's just ah.
Oh, he does that in so many.
But he does that in so many movies.
Yeah, his role is
But it'd be funny for his innie or outie, one of them to be that way.
Oh man.
And then the other one not. And I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't think he's probably going to play a very high up. I don't think it's going to be some innie.
And it probably won't be someone. I shouldn't say. I would say most likely it's going to be someone that's more of a cameo and not.
Yeah, it's not going to be a lot. Yeah,
he's not going to want to. Yeah.
But anyway, whenever it does come out, we're gonna drop whatever we're doing and cover that show, because there's nothing that's.
No, that's the
only. And that's the best show for theories and just kind of talking it out and trying to figure out what's going on. It's like when Westworld was good in the first season.
I know. Don't say that. Don't spook or not. Spook's not the right word. Don't jinx
it. Yeah.
This one.
No.
Because yes.
I'm fully confident.
Because if you're comparing season 1 of both, I would put them both neck to neck.
Yeah. No, I'm confident in Severance.
Yeah. I think they're smarter. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. So the only thing I have a question.
Okay.
What alternate reality would you try to what is what are
or what's the first one I'd want
to try to envision? I guess. I mean, again, we don't know exactly how they control, but they're obviously
you have to feel a certain way,
and to then find what would you?
I don't know. If I could do it, I'd want to. It'd be hard not to go to a bunch of different ones. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you mean specifically how the world would look?
I mean, anything. I mean, because
that's what a lot of these are, is seeing how different the world is.
Right now, yes.
Right.
But at the same time, we know the reason we don't know for sure, but the speculation, the reason he went to that
he
one.
Went for his wife, the
one that this is the
right, and he's convincing her to go back to painting or her art.
And then he's gonna try to go work, and he quit his job as a teacher.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he said they got a huge what do they call it, grant or
because he got his boy to give him
fund.
Yeah.
For yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah.
What about you? 100 Jennifer Connellys, whatever world that is.
I mean, I'm not gonna
check it out a second.
I'm not gonna not go there. On a more serious note, I mean, some of the obvious ones would be to go where some people have passed.
Sure, yeah.
You know,
That's a big
different
one.
family members, but obviously my wife, you know, Erin, when she like to go to maybe where she hadn't gotten cancer and died, that would be obviously amazing.
That would be, that would be number
But there's
one.
even other family that we've lost, or, you know, and it's like kind of where my brain went as I started to think about this.
Yeah.
You know? But otherwise, 100 Jennifer Connellys, why not?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, see, or even family like you didn't really get to really either meet or see much because, well, how does that work then? Like, are you still in the same?
It seems like, you're not time traveling.
Right, so you wouldn't be able to see
Like it's kind of like you couldn't see your great great grandfather,
right, yeah. Okay,
or visit Abraham Lincoln, right? Like you would, it's still like in the same time.
Yeah, so you're still in 2024,
right?
It's
so it would
just
be
different aspects happen to where
some things end
Right.
up differently, and of course, some of those that they were looking at, the world goes to
Yep.
crap by 2024.
Mhm.
But then obviously there's other ones that, like in this case, like there's one where, you know, he and Jennifer Connelly's character are, you know, don't stay in contact and don't even see each other anymore.
Right.
And she goes off and becomes a famous painter, whatever, and then he becomes the person that invents the box. But then the one that our main Jason is from, he decides to not go down the path of sorry. He decides not to go down the path of mad scientist and decides to beat the family man and just become a teacher. And then she has another job and stops doing the art so that they can support a family and they have a kid. And so,
Speaking of that, they get into their other kid more.
oh yeah,
That's a big part. I forgot about that.
I did, but that was very like an emotional moment.
was- yeah, that
they
was good.
reveal the way they were cutting back and forth with him telling the story
Yep.
and her telling the story. Right, it was her telling the story. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was cool and done well. And
Yeah. The other thing, which by the way, actually, I should have made a note about that. But talking about their other kid, that's obviously a setup for like going to a world where the kid's not dead,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
I would
of
think so.
course.
I would think so.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I thought about is it was a very quick one. One of the worlds they went into, I thought was so cool. It was like you see like this like demon monster for a second.
Yes.
I was like, man, give us more of that kind of like craziness. Like that was so cool. But then he like shut me. I mean, of course you wouldn't want to go in there, but still, like, give us more of that kind of craziness. I think would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of almost Stranger Things-esque.
Yeah, it looked like yeah.
Yeah. Kind of that kind of.
Because it didn't have red eyes. It was kind of like a shadow, and it had like, and you kind of heard it growl or do something. And then yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but no. Yeah, what have you guys been watching this? What reality, different paths would you be trying to take?
I gotta think about it for mine.
Yeah. Let us know.
Yeah.
And I think so.
Oh yeah, next week.
Next week, back to Star Wars.
Yep.
So next Tuesday, so the day before, the first 2 episodes of the Acolyte.
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 I don't know. I guess it's either
You
one.
can pronounce it either way.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, sorry. I thought since you sent me the song, because I was thinking about the box, I finally listened to that song. I was like, yes.
I was like, as soon as because I had to look when I was editing the podcast, it came up again.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And then I was like,
Goaty Hook is.
and I was
the
like, I
name.
look at it, I was like, it's Goaty Hook. Of course,
Makes
it's Goaty
sense.
Hook.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah,
Yep.
that was great. But yeah,
So,
so we're back to.
Do you know Goaty Hook? If you know Goaty Hook,
Yeah, it's a deep cut.
definitely leave a comment or email us feedback@screentimepod.com.
That's a deep cut. What? mid-90s Christian punk band.
Yes. From Central East Coast.
Yeah.
They're actually local to us. Local.
Oh, were they?
They're Pennsylvania, I think.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Or something. They were definitely in this region area. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So Star Wars
Acolyte. Yeah.
Next week, and we'll probably touch on Dark Matter just a little bit since we're watching it, and then and we'll go from there. And then we got House of the Dragon coming back, and we got
the
boys, which I didn't mention that, but I am still watching season 3 to get caught up and getting there.
Nice. You know what? Actually, that's something I didn't mention either. I'm rewatching all of the boys.
Oh wow!
Because I just love that show, and I only have watched the seasons when they first came out. So it's been a long time. Like that first season was
like a while ago.
I think it was 2018 or 2019 was the first season. So yeah,
cool.
And it's still great. It's another show that's consistently good.
Yeah.
It hasn't really wavered at all. But yeah, so we got a lot in June, and then The Bear is also June.
Yep, at the end of June. Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
it's gonna be a crazy month.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, right? You got nothing.
Sweet. Well, if you want to follow either one of us on Instagram, I'm at JYoungBar.
And I'm at Jered Youngbar.
All right. And we appreciate you guys that watch and listen. And we will catch you guys next time.